So in this video, I'm going to share exactly how I stay productive 99% of the time and how I'm able to accomplish more in a day than what most people are able to accomplish in a week. And I'm going to share the 5 tactics here that I use for being productive and effective with my work. And so let's just get into it right now. I'm going to get you like the main point right here, and it's that the whole key to productivity, like if you look around and you watch a bunch of videos and you ask around, you can see all these different like methods and strategies and these things. And reality is that the true key to productivity is to simply minimize. Just like with minimalism, where if you watch some of my videos on that, we talk about instead of trying to organize all of your stuff, you just minimize it, you just get rid of it. The same thing goes with productivity, okay? So it reminds me of one of these memes that I saw a while ago on like ways of organizing stuff, and people just using Apple Notes, and then there's the people who try to do like so many crazy things and try to like have like 10 different types of software. And so the key here, it's strictly just minimizing and reducing the amount of things that you have crossing your mind at any given time. Let me show you exactly what I mean by this. There's something called death by 1,000 cuts, okay? And this is what kills everyone in their attempt to become productive, okay? Because they have all these little things that are happening, right? You gotta go walk your dog. You gotta go empty the dishwasher. You gotta go take out the trash. You gotta, call your accountant and do some, miscellaneous tasks. You gotta pay your water bill. And the next thing you know, after doing all these little tasks, the day's over and you gotta start your next day, and you haven't really gotten very much done. And I feel like a lot of people fall into this category. I know it's happened to me in many cases in the past as well. And so how do we minimize these 1,000 cuts, and how do we avoid death by 1,000 cuts? Let me explain that here. So we need to keep it simple, right? The first thing I wanna share with you is understanding that you need to make it difficult for people to contact you. This is controversial, I know. People are like, what? No. Look, I'm telling you, this is something that you need to do if you actually want to be productive, especially because we always have our phones on us all the time. Either put your phone into airplane mode, do something to get your phone out of the picture when you're trying to be productive so that you don't have notifications going all the time. I don't give out my phone number to people. I think if people have access to me, it just kind of, you get pulled in all these different directions. Especially if you're trying to run a business, I think giving away your phone number, like signing off on your emails with your phone number, is a huge mistake because you end up just getting bombarded by phone calls and emails, and everyone wants your time and your attention, and it's very difficult to actually get anything done when people want your time like that, okay? So you need to say no to things. You need to start minimizing those distractions and not letting other people grab your time and steal your time. Beyond that, there's something that I think is really effective here, which is this little basic egg timer, okay? This egg timer, it's so simple, all right? But whenever I have a task that I need to do, I am on my computer, I set the timer for usually about 55 minutes, and when this timer is going, I'm working, okay? I'm wired in, I'm clocked in, and I'm working on the task at hand. I don't get distracted. I don't get up and go eat some ice cream because the timer's running. So trust me, this one really does work. Just go buy it. It's like $9, $10 on Amazon. It's just called an egg timer, and it's going to make a big difference for you for actually getting stuff done. When this timer goes off, then I can get up. I can use the bathroom. I can go, make myself a sandwich, do whatever I want to do for, usually I'll, go for like 15 minutes, take a break. I'll take a 15-minute break, and then I'll go back to setting this timer again for 55 minutes, and then I'll take another 15-minute break. It's a great strategy for getting stuff done. This is especially useful for like if you're studying for exams, or you're trying to write a paper for school, or you're trying to build a business and you're trying to focus on something. Little timer on your desk, huge game changer. Okay, next thing you need to do is something called eat the frog. I have no idea who came up with this term. It's the dumbest term ever, but what it is you're effectively, you are focusing on the task at hand that is most difficult, most annoying in the beginning of the day, rather than procrastinating and pushing it off. So let's say that you have a to-do list, right? Subconsciously, what we do is we pick the easiest one on the to-do list. Like say we have 5 things on there, so we pick the easiest one on the to-do list, we do that one. And then we do the second easiest one, then we do the third easiest one. And by the time we get to the end, it's like, oh, well, the day's already over. I couldn't do the most difficult, annoying task. And so I want you to flip this around, because we're all doing this subconsciously. I want you to flip this around and say, you know what? I'm going to wake up in the morning, and the most difficult, annoying task that I don't want to do is the one that I'm going to do first. And this is a great way of being productive and getting things out of the way. Just bite the bullet, take care of it immediately. But you have to really be conscious about this decision, because otherwise you're just going to flip it around and never, ever get that stuff done. Okay, another thing that you need to do that was a huge game changer for us for being productive is batching your meetings into 1 or 2 days per week. Now, I don't know what your personal situation is, but I know when we launched Roadrunner Ventures, like our venture fund, we were taking a lot of meetings, and my calendar ended up looking like a checkerboard. If your calendar looks like this, I'm just going to throw something up on screen here. If your calendar looks like this, you're basically screwed, okay? I remember this how my college schedule looked one time too, and it was so annoying because you have like these gaps in your schedule, and then you have like a meeting, and then you have an hour off, and you have another meeting, and then you have like 2 hours off, and another meeting, or like a class, and it's just a complete mess. It's chaos, right? And so what you need to do is batch everything into 1 day or 2 days. So now what we do with like Roadrunner, for example, is we only do our meetings on Tuesdays, and if anything flows over, we'll do them on Thursdays. And that's it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I don't have any meetings on my calendar ever. And it's amazing. It was something that I had to learn the hard way from just having a chaotic calendar, but it really was pretty great to do. Okay, so batch everything together into those periods. Now, there's 2 other things I want to share with you here, right? Because those are like some tips for becoming more productive. But now I want to share like the actual tools that I use for being productive. And there's really only 2 tools that I use, okay? So the first one is pen and paper. And on this pen and paper, what I do is I just write down 3 primary tasks for the day, and then I write down 3 secondary tasks for the day. I keep it simple, just a pad of paper, 3 tasks, primary and secondary. The primary ones, this kind of goes back to like what I said about eat the frog, that term. The primary ones are the most important, difficult, annoying tasks that I have to do that day. And then the secondary ones are kind of like if I have extra time at the end of the day after I accomplish those primary tasks, then I can move on to the secondary ones. They might not be as important. It might be like, you know, file your taxes or something, like still needs to be done, but it's not as crucial to be done that specific day. Those go into the secondary task category. It's important with this of not going over 3 bullet points per primary and secondary, because otherwise if you're overloaded and you have like 17 tasks to do for a day, it just gets kind of stressful and you end up like not doing any of them because there's just too many on the list, right? And you get overwhelmed. All right, so then the other thing that I do is you need to have some type of like extension of your brain. And so I use something like Notion. They're not sponsoring this, but it's just something that I genuinely use. And so like if you think about ways to categorize all your thoughts and ideas and businesses that you might be working on, then you got to realize that like it's hard to categorize it all in your brain. At least it is for me. Like I need somewhere to dump some thoughts and store my thoughts. And so I use Notion basically as like a second brain. And I'll take you inside and just show you around real quick on kind of how I do that. But I feel like sometimes I reach like max storage capacity in my brain. And so like there's really like 2 ways to remember stuff, right? It's either through repetition, like if you have to remember a certain task you need to do, you can just say it to yourself like 100 times and then you're going to remember it. Or it's through like traumatic experiences, which is not really an option for remembering stuff, right? So that's why I like categorizing stuff in Notion. I use it for things like building Kanban boards, like for this channel. You know, like we set up Kanban boards on Notion so we can like set task management and move videos over when we want to produce them and then when we want to release them. And I just kind of drag them over from like ideas over to notes, over to outlined, to ready to film, and then over to done finally. This is like what Toyota, you know, uses like for their car production lines. Like this is how a lot of businesses work for their workflow. It is super effective for being productive. There's other like platforms that do this as well, but I do recommend using like some way to store your thoughts and everything, some type of software. And the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is make sure you leave some buffer periods in your calendar. Like don't schedule everything out to the exact 15-minute slot all day, because you're gonna need to have some buffer periods where, you know, there might be something that comes up in the middle of the day and you're like, oh, dang, I have to go take care of that. And you got to go, you know, do it, right? So you need those buffer periods built in there as well so that your calendar doesn't get thrown off. But yeah, that's how I stay very productive. Look, the whole reason why I focus on being productive is so that I can have more free time on the weekends or on other days where I can do nothing. And, you know, like I don't have to be productive. If I'm productive all week, then on weekends I can do whatever I want. And so that's why I like being really efficient with my work. So let me know if you have any other thoughts on how to be productive. That's basically my system. You can see it's very simple. Like I said, focus on like the death by 1,000 cuts. Focus on minimizing, getting rid of those distractions is like the biggest key to success with being productive. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. I hope you found some value in it, and I'll see everybody sometime in the future.